Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Doing Justice Brings Joy. And we're going to once again be talking about the Hayti rezoning, which is the big hot thing going on in Durham this week. And I've got with me social justice queen, Anita Neville, who is the director of Hayti Reborn, and she has been leading the fight for community justice and community input and ownership of the Hayti Heritage redevelopment site.
Yes.
And we're just so happy to have her here with us today. As you know, I'm always bringing to your attention things that need to be highlighted. This is National Minority Donor Awareness Month, and as a recipient of a bone marrow transplant,
Mm.
I cannot stress to you how vital it is for us to actively participate in registering for donor donations.
Mhm.
If you are a pregnant woman and you are a minority, 57% of the people needing organs are in a minority group. They're African American, Hispanic, Asian, and Native American. 57% on the list of folks needing organs are in a minority group, but only 30% of the people on the registry are from minority groups. Now, anybody can donate to anybody based on blood, but the need for minority donors is critically important because it's not about whether you can receive the donation, but it's about the quality of, because we have more in common and because our blood groupings are more in line with each other through various levels. It makes it a smoother transition with less rejection rates. And so I'm encouraging you to do that. If you are a pregnant woman, you can donate the cord, the umbilical cord, stem cells, and save lives. Just bottom line. Those stem cells save lives. I'm here today, 9 years, just celebrated last week, 9 years from my bone marrow, from the stem cell transplant that I received.
Mhm.
9 years. Somebody donated, and I'm still here. It's critically important. There
Mm.
are folks in our community that have also benefited, that we all know and love, that
Yes.
have benefited from stem cell donations from the
Mhm.
umbilical cord.
Yes.
Okay? If you don't donate it, they're going to throw it away.
Mhm.
But don't let them throw that life away.
Mhm.
So when they give you the form, please check yes
Mhm.
that you want to donate, and that's for every pregnant woman, just not just minority pregnant women.
Mhm.
But the umbilical cord save lives. Don't waste a life by not checking that box. And if they don't offer you the a form, ask for it. Say you want to donate it. And so again, this is National Minority Donor Awareness Month. And yes, every Friday this month, I am going to remind you to save a life. So just be aware of that. This is also National Minority Health Awareness Month. So we're going to bring back folks, our neighbor, to talk about his natural products. Y'all see my skin is smooth. I don't have the makeup on today. Just and I've been using I've been using that soap, and he's telling the truth. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
He's telling the truth. So I've got Anita here with me, and we've got some. I went on a real diatribe last week about this Hayti Reborn and about this rezoning. And I want you this week to hear from the woman who's been in the fight, been working, trying her best to get the developer to do the right thing and respect our community. And so I'm going to ask Anita Neville, the director of Hayti Reborn, a social warrior queen who has who was in the best we had to bring to this fight, because she is a expert in restorative facilitation, in community engagement. This is how she make her living. Okay, but this was not work for her.
Right.
This was passion
Yes.
for
Yes.
her. So
Yes.
she brought her best game. Just like anytime anybody messes with Durham, they got to deal with me. When they mess with Hayti, I have to step back, get information, and follow my leader. So Anita, talk to us. Give us some historical background first. Tell us a little bit about you and why Hayti and the Durham community is so important to you.
Yes.
And then track us through this fight.
Yes.
Give us a timeline,
Yes.
because we've been timelined to death in
Yes.
these meetings. So give
Yes.
us the people's timeline on this discussion.
Yes. Stella, thank you not only for your invitation, but for your most gracious and generous introduction. You speak about me as if we have been in each other's circles for a couple of decades, but your description um, fits me well. This is a passion. It's not work. It is service. Um, my grandfather was the first Black businessman in Fuquay, North Carolina, to own a business in downtown Fuquay, and he owned a whole block. He had a restaurant, a barber shop, and what they called a tourist home, which was in the spirit of the Green Book tradition. And on the window of my grandfather's restaurant was the slogan, "Service is our business, our only business."
That's right.
And being one of only two of the grandchildren who remember him, um, that has resurrected in my spirit, in my ongoing. When I went to college, um, and you search for a major, and I came home to tell my entrepreneurial father, who was the son of my grandfather, I want to be a social worker, and he's like, baby, what's that? What you mean? I said, because I want to help people. And he hurt my feelings. What he said to me was, you can't help nobody. People have to help themselves.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that, but, but God, at this, at this time in my life, I'm favored with so many opportunities for service.
Mhm.
And my discovery of restorative justice, restorative practices, was a godsend. It is a discipline that I'm passionate about. I provide those services for students and families and teachers in Durham Public Schools. And I also provide those services where needed. I'm privileged to work with Dr. Scott Holmes at NCCU Law School.
My baby, I
Yes,
raised him up. So I'm
yes,
just saying.
who invites me annually, twice annually, to come and address his third year law school students. And I could go on about other opportunities I have to share the good news about the value of restorative practices. And so I do that in my own business. I do that daily in Durham Public Schools. And now, um, during COVID, um, I began to look for a way to memorialize and honor Hayti, especially the Pettigrew Street
That's right.
corridor, where there are not even any ghosts anymore
No.
of what used to be there. My father, Joseph Scott, and I like to be introduced as Anita Scott Neville because that pays homage to my family and to my father. But my father, Joseph Scott, was the owner of Turner Beauty and Barber Supplies located on Pettigrew Street
Mm-hmm.
at the time of the so called urban, um, what I call removal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, as early as 13 years old, I have experience of being with my father. That business was both a storefront retail as well as a wholesale, where he had root sales from as far north as Virginia, Danville, Virginia, and as far south as South Carolina. In in those days, and before, even longer before, uh, uh, Negroes, coloreds, it was common for them to make a living with in home beauty shops and
Mm-hmm.
with barber shops. And that's exactly who my father served. And so it came upon my spirit to no, yes, it did come upon my spirit in frustration and in resentment, because you ride down Pettigrew Street and there's no, oh boy, there's no um, indication of the power and the strength of community that existed. That that community, and because it was a business hub, you know, I'm going to fast forward until today to the struggle we're in now. I've heard inferences about us being all in our emotions and in our feelings. Um, no, passion is different from emotion, and
Straight,
because
repeat that for me.
yes, yes,
That's gonna be a thing.
yes, passion is different uh, from emotion. We are all entitled to our feelings, but our passions emanate from experience, emanate from commitment, emanate from service. That's where passion is rooted. And so you don't do that, and you don't do that effectively by staying hung up in your feelings. And this is where the restorative practices serve me. But I saw it firsthand from one end, where there was Service Printing Company, where we had a weekly Black-owned newspaper. Now, what is more significant in any community, let alone a Black community, than having their own way of communicating?
Mm-hmm.
Communication, people, I can remember walking to the mailbox for my grandmother because she wanted to make sure she got her Carolina Times.
That's right.
My parents
That's right.
received it physically,
That's
their
right.
Carolina Times. Um, Unfortunately, with the passing of Brother Edwards, the newspaper stopped being printed. I still have hope that that might be resurrected, and that's another conversation. But that's a landmark that has everything to do with why and with how Pettigrew Street and Hayti thrived. We were not a hanging on by our knuckles community. We were a thriving community, and we worked with each other. Now, across the railroad tracks there on Dillard Street over to Parish Street, there was Mechanics and Farmers Bank.
Mhm.
And while it was not physically located in Hayti, it was a pillar of Hayti.
That's correct.
I am old enough to remember President John Wheeler. I'm
Yes.
old enough to remember walking into that bank, going into my father's business with him on a Monday or Tuesday morning, where they're reconciling the week's receipts and maybe, yeah, coming up short, writing out a plan. And I've been in that bank when with my father when he walked in and asked to see Mr. Wheeler, was able to see the president of the bank,
Right.
sat down, not all day,
No.
not filling out reams of paper, and walked out of there with a check.
Mhm.
And I say that from firsthand experience, but I know there are other uh, black business persons from Pettigrew Street who had the same experience. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to make it. So there was a coming together,
That's right.
and the only reason that Pettigrew Street and the business hub that existed there is not there anymore is because of the greater powers that be. And there's still a lot of pain in the community about suspicions of who in the black community conspired.
Yes.
Now, my parents were conscious individuals. Um, did I grow up protesting and raising my fist? No, they protected us from that part of it. But we were aware that that was a mandate in my house. And so what I say to honor even those descendants, those ancestors who were here when the state government and others were coming to convince the community that
Right.
147 was good. This is what I say, and I believe it. Just like today, we have our suspicions about what's
Mhm.
happening under the table with redevelopment, okay? And that that devil in the air is not going anywhere. But I do trust and believe that in a overall fashion, the families, the Spaldings, the Scarboroughs, the Merricks, they were individuals who had experience with developing and making Hayti, and not only Hayti, but Durham,
That's right.
what
That's
what
right.
what it was. And
That's
so I do believe, and I've said this to council members who are older than me, some, but I do believe that what happened then was done in good faith.
I
That, yeah,
agree.
nothing is perfect, nobody is perfect. There might have been, some ink in the water, but I believe it was done in good faith. The rhetoric, what unlike today, the rhetoric that they were sharing for the community was believable, and not only that, it was desirable.
Hmm.
Now let's fast forward to what we're being fed today. It's neither believable, trustworthy, nor desirable. And
And
so,
let me say this: there's an
mhm,
old adage, "Fool me once,
yes,
shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." And we're not being, again, as you state, they're putting forward in support of this rezoning is unconscionable. It's
absolutely.
like And I told my listeners last week, I was insulted because they think we don't even understand the bare minimum value of our community.
Absolutely. Um, and everything that you say about the developer is true, Stella. But this is where I am. Yes,
Mhm.
I did put forth. Yeah, I'm going to give a valiant effort to work with the developer. So much they
You did.
they keep raising the beginning, and the beginning meeting when we were in Dr. Calhoun's home. I was there. So were
Mhm.
other members of Hayti Reborn Community Advocacy. Now, when we met them, they already owned the property.
Mhm.
And so there was some givens we had to work with. So we listened to them talk about wanting to come and be a good neighbor, quote unquote, wanting to come and learn about the history and value the history and not erase the history, quote unquote. So we had a time of almost 2 years of working with them. All right, that's a restorative principle. We work with each other. We don't do things to or for each other. We work with each other. Okay, so we even had Scott and I developed a citywide restorative circle
That's right.
around this issue.
That's right.
We were working with them. Okay. Then to go back to your point about how they talk to us like we don't know any better. Then late last summer, they come up with, oh, oops, we didn't know about the bedrock. And at the meeting where they first shared that at St. Mark, we were fortunate to have contractors in the building who spoke to them, um, business person to business person. And what it boiled down to was, what do you mean you didn't know? Anybody who's ever done any work in Durham knows about the terrain here and knows about the prevalence of bedrock in Hayti. What do you mean? And then I'm not a contractor, but I do have some rational abilities.
Yes.
And my question was, but you are a big developer. You are a developer with lots of experience before you met us. Is not that a part of your assessment process? I don't understand. And the songs and dances that they gave us. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's when this rezoning, they like to talk about 3 years. That is an illusion. The rezoning is not even, let me think, July, where, yeah, the rezoning topic, we are right at a year old because
So it is a year. I thought it was about 9 months because
well,
I became aware of
it's
it
about
about
9 months.
November.
It's 9 months since they started the process, because
Okay.
with the rezoning comes some mandatory community engagement. But
Okay.
we heard about it,
Okay.
okay, late summer.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so let's shift gears. We're going from, working with, and the first thing we learn, because I've learned a lot during this process. First
Yes.
thing we learn is about what the privileges are for them with rezoning. Now, no matter what they're talking about, if the rezoning is approved, they can and will do whatever they want to do, no
That's
matter
correct.
these numbers there. But okay, so right now, at this point, I think I want to stop talking about the developer, because you and I both know that's not where the decision lies.
That is not where the decision lies,
The
people.
developers are doing what they're
What
paid to,
developers do.
what developers do. And
Mhm.
oh, by the way, and you and I were in the meeting last night, and I did jot down 155,000 and hundred other, and I said to I said, no, I actually said it out loud. I said that is not even equal to the salary that this woman is makes
Thanks.
to come and tell us this story.
And
And
Anita, you know that I was so insulted by that number that I put, and I'm gonna do it on the air
yes,
because I want you to understand how ridiculous
yes,
the proposal is.
yes,
That I at the meeting last night committed Stella, and you know when I put it out here in the world with a commitment on it, I
yes.
stick with it and I deliver.
And you get it done.
Okay,
Yes,
I committed that over the next 10 years, because that's what they were stretching theirs out over
right.
10 years, that over the next 10 years that I would bring 5 million, and that's double, more than double what
More than
they
double.
said, more
Yes,
than double
yes,
that I would bring into the Hayti Neville Street corridor. $5 million. Okay,
yes,
y'all are looking at me like I'm crazy because y'all saying, Stella, you doing 5 million?
right.
Didn't you do that for my neighborhood?
Yes,
I'm doing it because I wanted to. I'm doing it to highlight
yes. What
how
can be
ridiculous,
done?
how ridiculous it is
Yes,
that I am committing to
yes,
bringing into the Hayti Neville Street corridor $5 million worth of investment over the next 10 years.
yes.
And I doubt it take me 12 months to achieve it.
How about that?
And
Yes.
this is a $20
Well,
billion corporation that has zero
yes,
um, philanthropic foundations or corporate giving. And they stated last night that the kind of deals that they put on the table for us, that's how they do their community stuff. And so
yes.
if that's what they give to a community, we
Yes.
don't need them.
And I've learned that recently too doing some research. We are in their cookie cutter
Mm-hmm,
pattern of doing things.
mm-hmm.
But the more that we talk about the developer's history, and the developer's engagement with us as a community, such as it was, the more that I want to look at our elected officials.
And that's
Um,
where we're going to spend the next 30 minutes. We're
I'm,
going to be talking about the political thing.
yes,
Because again, what I pointed out to my folks last week, there is no community support for this rezoning.
none.
The Planning and Zoning Board voted 10-0
10-0.
against
And
the
I want to say to the hearing of those who may not know, when we went before the planning commission, I went there and I asked for a continuation. And I think it's significant that they didn't need a continuation.
speak.
They didn't even need a continuation to
Mhm,
unanimously vote against this foolishness. Um, the fact that, and there are some jurisdictions, again, I've learned a lot. There are some jurisdictions where what the planning commission uh, re, findings are becomes a recommendation to
mhm.
city council that they must consider. That's not true in Durham. However, what ought to be true is some political and professional uh, confidence
And
and
deference.
deference to a group known as a planning commission for
Mhm,
your city. So
mhm,
the fact that we are taking, when I say we, our municipal, our elected officials,
mhm.
that we are being drugged through the so-called process, because the last time we we were present before city council, I don't know what you call that. We were placed last on the agenda.
Yes.
The gallery was full of nothing but proponents of a vote for no for rezoning. And we sat patiently
Mhm.
and were denied an opportunity to speak. In deference to the mayor voicing, oh well, he came here to get to vote and get this done tonight. Now, if you call that a process, you know, I don't know. You're okay. So okay, and so the indictment for the community was, oh hey, you got Hayti this and Hayti that. We don't know who to hear, who to listen to, and who to speak to. So long before June 16th, Hayti Reborn worked to create a coalition
That's right.
made up of neighborhood and community associations, leaders, and other advocacy groups, not only in Hayti, not only in the Black community, but citywide.
That's
And
right.
I need to count so that I can readily say how many different organizations work with us. I wrote it down. You heard me spout it
You
out
were
last
spouting
night.
it out, and
Yeah,
feel free,
yes,
feel
but
free
yes,
to do so
but
right now.
but I need to be able, because what, and I'm going to say it, what the mayor in particular suggests is that we're all over the place. We don't know what we want, but the two town, first of all, there was a coalition building meeting where it's one thing to respond to me electronically, but folks showed up.
That's right.
People showed up and were physically there and gave their input. All
Mhm.
right. And then we began to go forth and they spread the word to their constituents. And so I can tell you that my mailing list is like 192, but that reverberates across the city of Durham.
That's
And
right.
throughout all of this interaction, no one, I take that back. I take that back. At one of the town hall meetings, we had two. At the
Hmm.
town hall meeting in uh, 2 weeks ago, at the end of the town hall meeting, a woman stood up and she did talk about wanting us to consider rezoning because of some benefit her father had received with getting a house after urban renewal. Okay,
Hmm.
and blessings to she and her family. But just as they have tried to splinter us as a group, they have actually gone. Saint Reverend Julian Pridgeon and
Hmm.
Hayti Reborn have been in lockstep from the beginning.
Lock step.
And now recently, what the developer and some, I won't out, some local so-called leaders are doing is going through the back door to just speak to the church only and make them promises about what they might do if there's damage to the church. And the offer of $125, I mean
$1,000.
$25,000 to an escrow account, is that's another one of those their insults. Again, that is not even the salary of one of those folks who have come from Sterling Bay and Akron to talk to us. It is an insult. So, you know, these tactics and more, some that we know about, some that we don't know about. This to me is the harm, because Sterling Bay is going to pack their bags and not only go to Chicago, but stay in Chicago or wherever they, but we still have to live here
Live here.
with
That's right.
with each other,
That's right.
with each other. And the harm that and the disinvestment that Hayti has been subjected to since the early 60s,
Hmm.
we still have not, we're still bleeding from it. And the comprehensive plan for Durham speaks about Hayti in particular, speaks about hearing from the voices of the community in particular. Read that document. And that's not what we're doing. That is not what our elected officials are leading us in doing.
So,
And that's the frustration at this
yeah,
point.
and let me say this, um, in terms of, I want people to kind of understand the dynamics of the rezoning, because we're talking about it from a cultural,
Right.
but I want to talk about what is the rezoning going to do, and why there is more. So there's more harm being
Yes.
done to the community
Yes.
than would be done to the community if we say no. Because
So
one of the arguments that is being made is that if we don't approve this, there'll be some long term historic, unrecoverable harm that will come to Durham and to the Hayti community.
yeah.
And I am going to tell you, I'm going to be my professional right now. Um, Professionally, I am telling you that no is a win in the long term for Hayti. Whether it sits there and rots to the ground,
Yes.
it is a better deal for Durham
Yes.
than approving this rezoning that is a hoax and a slap, a beatdown on the community
Yes. Yes.
in the long and short term.
Yes.
First of all, in this rezoning request, they are proposing to build 325 market rate housing units. They have been adamant, insistent, there's no way in hell statement that they're going to contribute one penny or
Right.
one unit for affordable housing.
Yes.
This is just one of the losses. So this is the one I know the best.
Yes.
We have developers. Every week there's a city council meeting. There are developers who are developing market rate housing who have proffered between 5 and 10% of the units for affordable housing. Now,
Yes.
there have been many a developer who has said, no, I'm
Mm.
not going to give you any units.
Right.
But they have been willing to cut a check.
Yes.
At the St. Mark meeting the other night, a developer stood up
Mm-hmm.
and said, I just created, I think he said like 38 housing units,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and that he donated 3 units. No, he didn't. The equivalent of 3 units in
Yes.
cash, $200,000 a unit to the Housing Trust Fund
Right.
for a total. And he was sitting there saying, because he was like, what? And
Yeah.
he stood up and said, I've done $600,000 in that one little bitty development.
And I'm not as big a developer as you guys are. Yeah.
Am I telling the truth, Anita?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
And
thought,
so,
yeah, it was eloquent. Hmm.
mhm. Now, if you are this developer and you donated $600,000 for affordable housing to the city of Durham on 38 units,
Yeah.
if Sterling Bay gets a rezoning for 325 units and says hell to the no and puts zero money in a trust fund,
Right.
the next time you're going to develop some property and need a rezoning, I mean, common sense says if he don't have to pay,
Right.
why
Why do I?
do I?
Yep. Yep.
And so this rezoning is going to cost us
In the future.
in
Yes.
the future. If we approve this rezoning, I
Yes.
want you to understand this is just one point of many.
Yes.
If we approve this rezoning,
Yes.
there is absolutely no incentive
Right.
for another developer to come into Durham,
Yes.
negotiate with the community, and proffer any units as part of their rezoning process. Zero need.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that on its own
Yes.
is sufficient harm
To say no.
to say no.
Yes.
And the fact that Anita and I are here talking about this so vehemently, trying to make sure that you understand what's going on so vehemently, is because we've heard that politicians are saying to people out loud, it's a done deal. And
Yep.
if you don't like it, what you
Y-
gonna do in place of it? Well,
Right.
I'm here to tell you, and Anita's here to tell you, and I'll let her tell you herself. We don't give a damn.
Right.
She may not curse. We don't give a damn.
Yeah.
But we will hold you accountable and shortly
Yes. Yes.
if you approve this rezoning over the interests long term of Durham
Yes.
and over the interests of this community.
Of the community. Yes, absolutely. And so eloquently, you share, Stella, the political and the economic, a major point in the economic, residual, or results of an approval. But let's look at what it does to livability, because again, um, Sterling Bay is going home. We will still be here. So just before the federal elections, I served on an environmentalist board with researchers from UNC, and one of their main focuses was the Hayti community. And they shared that Hayti is a heat island, and they shared all of, and that is was a result of the construction of 147. So right after the election, when all of the environmental justice and human rights um activities were shut down, so was this research.
Mhm,
But um, I don't believe in coincidence. So within the last 10 days, they reached back out to me,
mhm,
and they said that they're back up on their feet at half speed. And they asked for permission to come in Hayti and take some more measurements. Why? Because Hayti keeps showing up as one of the hottest areas in Durham. Heat hot.
mhm,
Okay. So without a doubt, and it's documented, that construction of high rise buildings higher than that church, just as high as what we see across the railroad track in downtown, and they're adjacent to 147, will do nothing but minimize comfortability and livability, not only for residents in Hayti, but just anybody who's trying to do business there or live there. Now let's look at the physical location of Heritage Square. Let's think about it. Let's think about the proposition that they're going to build labs. Now, we already know, and there's been uh, statistics shared that we have a whole lot of lab space between the city of Durham, including Duke and Research Triangle Park, that's vacant. Okay. But we do know that and we've yet to learn labs for what, to do what, to research what, to use what chemicals. We have yet to hear that.
yes,
But we do know where our research hubs are, and they are on this side of 147 and on that side of 147, Duke and RTP.
mhm,
Now, whether the labs come or whether they don't,
mhm,
any individual whose destination is what we know now to be Heritage Square can enter and arrive at Heritage Square on 147, bam, do their business and conduct their business and leave Heritage Square and get right back on 147, not spend a dime in Hayti, not even be aware that they are in Hayti.
But
Um,
not in, also not spend a dime or be taxed
or it
in
more
Durham.
more importantly, exactly. And so last night the developer shared something we've never heard anything about erecting an
An arch.
an arch. You know where they got that from, Stella? From Anita Scott Neville. When we first met them 3 years ago, and
Hmm.
they had a DEI expert, the only Black person on their team,
Uh-huh.
she and I talked about the aesthetics of
Hmm.
what we wanted to do. And that was my proposal, that oh, once you get off of 147 and cross that bridge, that there should be something that says welcome to Hayti.
Hmm.
And where we were going was to create, and I'm going to say visitor center for just
Ah,
a framework of an image, but to create that type of atmosphere in Heritage Square where there was food, where there was restaurants, where there was entertainment, where there was perhaps a museum, some information, and museum. We know the Heritage Center is right up the hill, a little different, but a museum that informs, that gives tours, that is digitized, so that uh, these kids whose parents come and bring them to go to Central, who have no place to buy a cup of coffee or soda, who have no place to lodge overnight when they bring their babies here, when they come for graduation. you know this was the thinking before they started talking about rezoning. And oh, they were, oh, that's fine, and we're going to do murals and all of this other stuff. So that uh, is what our elected officials should have already been working with us to invest in. And anything short of that, given the current landscape there, is unacceptable. What a high rise, 175, 225, 300, what that will do to the livability. Okay, it, first of all, it will erase Hayti, because unless you are actually from Durham, from Hayti, it won't look any different than downtown.
downtown.
All right. And so when I go down Pettigrew Street, and I'm on film saying that that I experience resentment, and then I pray, because what I know and understand is those high-rise apartments on Pettigrew are filled with individuals who, like anybody else, they moved here from Wisconsin, from California. They read a brochure that talked about how great it is to live in Durham. It did not talk about the dirt, the soil that they would be spoiling just by coming here. So they don't know. They don't know. And we have few little opportunity to preserve the spirit and the soil of what we know to be Hayti. And that 10-acre piece, along with, and it was spoken about last night on the other end, the 20
Phase
acres on Fayette, right? This is our last opportunity in terms of a concentrated area that can be reclaimed
one. Hmm.
and preserved and restored in the spirit of Hayti.
And I think it's so important as we talk about this. I want to emphasize that people come to Durham because of Durhamites, because of the history, because of the transformative nature and the spirit of Durham. Okay, and Anita, you know this. People outside of Durham in the state often say them damn Durhamites. Then people from Durham coming in here with their ideas, innovation, liberation, all
Because it's in our history.
history.
Our history proves that that's who we are as a people. It Our creativity and innovation and forward thinking. It's nothing new about that. Nothing at all.
No, and again, our history was documented
Yes.
by Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois in
Yes.
the 19th century.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
the black community of Durham
He wanted us to be models for
for
other,
the rest of
yes,
the nation.
for the rest of the nation.
But
Absolutely.
and I'm going to bring this up because it's a line that is often missed in it's a line that is often missed by folks who read the report. Um, and that is where he talks about, yeah, there are other black entrepreneurial spirited communities like Durham.
Yes.
But and he said, but what sets Durham apart from the rest of the nation is that the white folks in Durham were agnostic about our progress to, supportive. It was
Yes.
like there was no anti. They truly believed that um, they didn't think
That
we
it
were,
wasn't,
but they thought that if they can make it happen, good
yeah.
luck with that.
And they saw the investment for the whole city in our being able to thrive. Yes.
And Booker T. Washington said, Mark is shy today, but Booker T.
Thank you,
Washington
Mark.
said that Booker T. Washington said this was the sanest he had ever seen white people be in
Yes.
America.
Yes.
And I
Exactly.
will say the truth is that's true today
Yes.
of
Yes.
of our white community in Durham.
Yes.
We
And
had
and we have a good number of Anglos, Caucasians as a part of the coalition that has been built
absolutely.
around this idea, and they have been vocal, they have been physically present, and they are part of our the constituency of our elected officials. I think that cannot be overlooked. So this is why, as of last night, we've sent out a survey. There is a petition, and just before coming on with you, Stella, the petition was 4 votes away from reaching 1,300 signers asking for a vote of no. But as of last night, we have sent out a survey. The survey asks, how do you identify yourself? That is, are you a citizen of Durham, a citizen of Hayti, et cetera, et cetera. Then it asks, what ward, what is your voting area? And then it asks a simple question: how would you vote, given what you've learned and heard about the rezoning of Heritage Square? What would your vote be? I vote yes for rezoning or no for rezoning. And the reason we did the survey this way, again, was to be responsive to our elected officials who have shared the propaganda that we are not unified, that we don't know what we want, that they don't know who to talk to, who to listen to. So a coalition, by the very definition of co-aligned,
That's right.
lets you know that this is and in my role as servant leader for Hayti Reborn, um, just with any other group activity, there's some maybe ideas or even nuances that you might not hear from me personally, but my role is that of advocate. My role, first of all, is to listen and then to advocate, and then to make sure that that advocacy falls on the right ears.
Hmm.
And so, for any elected official who doesn't understand that process, there's something lacking there.
Thank you,
So
Mark.
we continue to draw everybody in, and we have asked the question because it's been inferred that, okay, it's actually been, no, it's not been inferred, it's been said, well, you can't hold yourself up as being the community or the one who speaks for community. Okay. And so we've said, you're right, but we haven't encountered anybody who has challenged it. And then so then we got the response that, oh well, there are some. And so when we convened before for the last town hall meeting, I asked with great intention, please share contact information for those individuals who support rezoning, because in a town hall forum we need to hear from everyone.
That's right.
We heard from one individual, and I did not get a response when I asked the mayor to share those contacts.
Mm.
Let me be specific. What I asked the mayor to do was to let those people that he knows of who support rezoning, I asked him to reach out and ask those folks to come to the town hall.
Well, I think it's important, Mark. Do you have anything you want to ask Anita, or you want to talk about related to the rezoning right now?
No, I mean, I know we got that big vote coming on August 4th, which will be actually on Monday. And I know that that's what y'all have been talking about to try to get this mobilized and to make sure that things are not done to destroy a very important part of Durham. And like you said, Durham history and a lot of people that have gone on to fame and fortune, even in other jobs and everything like that. I think about McCoy, Henry McCoy, in the more current version of doing things, but I also think about one of my mentors who has been very big in charter schools, but was also very big in the creation of the Malcolm X School, which was there in the Hayti district as well. That being
Yes,
Howard Fuller, and all along those lines, because he was one of my mentors and a dear friend of my dad's and mine, and everything along those lines. And he's still very active, even in the age. He's probably about my dad's age, so he's in his 80s and all along those lines. But he came out of the trenches of Hayti, just like Ben Ruffin did, and a number of
Yes.
others. So we know that there's a lot of folks that came out of these trenches that have done a lot of this kind of work that Anita has been very much passionate about, and all along those lines. And I can tell you,
Nat White and Nat White Jr.
that
both.
way, that way to the definitely there's others that have passed on. I think about Ray Urquhart and
Oh,
Bobby
Brother
Davis,
Ray.
and a lot of folks like that that were very much active in the community. They were from the community, and all along those lines. I even think about Bruce Bridges, who had the No
Yes.
Bookstore, and is
absolutely.
still around, and
So,
all along those lines. But definitely, to Anita's other point, it is frustrating as one that sometimes does work part time over the Haytime as one of their historians and consultants. When I see people that are literally right behind us living in those fancy houses that have no clue about the history of where they live and don't really do enough due diligence to do
right.
research into the area that they have moved into. So it can be frustrating when you see them going walking their dogs. I remember one time, I think I've mentioned it a couple of meetings that me and Anita have shared and everything, and I told them what was going on at Hayti in terms of what we do in terms of cultural events and history talks, like what I do and what Aya does and others do as well. And she was like, "Oh, you mean that church over there and everything?" Because they still think of it as a church because of the church facade and not the cultural activities that we are very much involved in, and all along those lines. So it can get frustrating when some of these newbies coming to town and don't have a understanding of their history. And like you, Anita, I have got friends and family that have attended and worked at North Carolina Central University, Duke University, and a number of other places. And the students oftentimes don't even try to learn the history of where they're coming from, even though
Right.
some of them are coming from places that
And
have a similar history, whether they're coming from Tulsa, whether they're
and
coming from
yeah,
Rosewood, Florida, whether they're coming from
yeah.
Central Park in New York, or whether they're coming from
And
another.
and 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 to this point, if I could, I see the clock is winding down.
Don't worry, we're gonna go
We
over a little bit.
we if at Hayti Reborn have used the buzzword "stay woke," and
Right.
we didn't create that, and nor did hip hoppers create it. Dr. Martin Luther King beckoned us to
Yeah.
be awake, and so we've talked about the threat that if rezoning is not approved, then nothing will be done, and that is absolutely a fallacy. So let's frame this from the historians, that list that Mark just shared, and let's look at where we are now, what we're learning, and the consciousness that's been shaken loose in the community. And let's look forward, with a woke consciousness for what can be done and what we will commit to do to preserve and to restore Hayti.
Hey, Anita, just along those same lines, and Stella as well. One of the things that has been very scary to watch is that this is a fight that is not just on our own doorsteps, but it's a fight that's on our neighbors' doorsteps as well. Because we have seen what I put in the chat and everything. I was watching recently where they are looking at doing some similar type of destructive rezoning around Lenova, which is RBC Sports Arena and everything, but also over there at North Hills, and that's with a Chicago type developer and everything like that. Because they were talking about putting up a 30-flight or 30-story building high rise up there in our state capitol and everything like that. So we have to be aware that they are watching what is going on in Durham, just like we watch what is going on in their communities as well. So if we lose this battle, I fear that they will lose the battle in their area as well. So definitely that's another reason we need to, as you put it, Anita, stay woke, because this is not just a Durham fight, it's a Raleigh fight, it's a Wilmington
That's exactly
fight,
what we've been saying.
fight.
If they do it in Hayti, it can be done anywhere.
Anywhere.
And
And
they're already seeing that. They're already starting to do that, because that's what I meant when I was watching the news. I think it was either yesterday or the day before, and saw this proposal, and it wasn't Sterling Bay, but it was another developer like Sterling Bay that was talking about putting up this giant high rise there in North Hills. And I remember dating a young lady that lived not that far from North Hills, so I know that area quite well and everything like that. And I know that it is one that has some historical resonance as well, even though it's not Chavis or Walnut Creek. It does have some historical resonance in that Raleigh area, and if they do it here, then they'll just come after Raleigh, then they'll come after Capitol Hill. We've already seen them come after Capitol Hill to some degree as well.
we have legacy, we have legacy, but we also are a woke community. We are in a community that will unite and fight for what makes Durham Durham. And I am going to say this, and I'm going to be clear. The community, there is not any breach in community from the left to the right. There is no division within the Black community at all.
Right.
I will announce. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but I don't care, because we don't have nothing between us and Monday but the weekend, and people ain't gonna pay attention after today.
Yes.
But last night, by an avalanche of votes, the Durham Committee on the Affairs of Black People will not be supporting the rezoning on Monday. So I don't want politicians who have said in public spaces that I'm talking out of turn, because I am. But what I'm saying is the truth.
Yes.
If you vote with Sterling Bay, you are not voting with any community in Durham. There is not a civic community to the left or the right, from the Black to the white,
Right.
that is in support of this rezoning. And I want people to understand that anything Sterling Bay can do with the rezoning, they can do now. Anything they don't want to do with the rezoning, they can not do now.
Yep.
And so, but the harm they will do to Durham and to future development prospects for affordable housing proffers and for donations to the Affordable Housing Fund, this rezoning will kill all future proffers. Trust me on that. The danger is there. Only people who benefit from this rezoning are Sterling Bay. Yep. The community of Durham does not. I'm saying it plain. I'm saying it simple. And the community, and the threat, the unspoken or spoken but not spoken threat last night was, if you don't take this, you won't get anything.
Yeah.
And what they offered was less than nothing. I am once again committing that I, Stella Adams, will work my tail off over the next 10 years, because that's what their commitment covered, $5 million into Hayti. And we'll do a running tally as I bring the resources and investments into the community. The community, the list they put down, the community will not lose a thing that they proffered in that in their letter. I put my name on it, and when I'm willing to sign my name, I won't let you down.
That's like gold and
Stella,
everything.
thank you for the opportunity to join you today. Thank you, Mark, for supporting our comments and enlightening us to even a broader scope of some of the things that we mentioned. And I just look forward to working with each of you as well as the broader community as we go forward to preserve and restore Hayti.
No doubt about it. And Anita, just really quickly, and like I said, that we've gone a little bit over, and we can just end on this note and everything, unless you and
I need to go.
I know. Well, I'm just going to. What I was going to say is very short, and all along those lines is that folks need to be concerned that it has bigger implications as well, because I know that there are people that are concerned that if they take that bit of property, that they will then target that church that is right behind you, that you are a member of, and all along those lines, and that they will target the center itself, and that they will target properties that the Hesters and Perrys own as well. So I would urge people to look at what the bigger consequences could be in addition, because there is definitely some pictures and some people that have made it very clear that it doesn't stop with just that one property.
Thank you, Anita, for joining us today. We will join you in person on Monday at we're gathering at 6:30 to be there for
Wonderful.
7. So
Yes.
we're calling on all like-minded people to please join us at City Council and have your voices heard. Thank
Yes.
you, Anita, for being with us today.
Thank you. It was my privilege.
And Mark, and I want to do just a few closeout things with the people before we leave. Thank you again, Anita.
No problem.
I just want to remind people that the City Council, somehow, I'm not sure why, it just seems convenient that the City Council has changed the rules of public participation and only allowing 15 minutes for the proponents of an issue and 15 minutes for the opponents of an issue, and limiting the speakers to one per organization.
So wait a minute, is that 15 minutes cumulative, or is that so it's not 15 minutes per per person or anything like that? That's
no, it's per issue. So all of the community that is opposing this rezoning, we have 15 minutes. And there are like, dozens and dozens of us.
Right.
And those who are supporting this rezoning, which is maybe the developers and a couple of other people, will also have 15 minutes. But each speaker will still be limited to 3 minutes. Isn't it interesting?
That's like only possibly 5 speakers, somewhere between 5 to 10 speakers roughly, and everything like that. So, and there's a lot more people that want to speak on just this issue alone.
That's correct. And they've gone to this at this particular moment, at this particular time. If y'all don't see it, I'm making it plain. We need to show up. we need to show up. And if you can't show up, you need to sign up in terms of participating virtually, because they put some, you can't just you can't participate virtually unless you sign up to do so in advance. So go ahead and sign up now for this issue on Monday. You may not get to speak, but you can put in when you sign up a reason why you're not supporting it, and they have to record that. This is a public hearing.
Yeah.
So a public hearing, they have to take your thoughts. I want you all to sign on to the petition. Here's the QR code here. Here is the sign this petition. Go to this website. Use this QR code. Fill out the survey. All of this will be delivered to City Council on Monday. We are watching.
Yep.
The community from left to right, from black to white, is opposed to this rezoning. I've got just a few minutes left, and I've gone over, but I think it's so important. Okay, I'm being told that the link to the petition works, but the link to the survey doesn't work. Okay, thank you, Durham Skyrider. And let me see, did I copy that survey thing wrong?
Durham Skywriter would be Pat Murray. So Pat Murray is over here watching and checking it out. So definitely we'll have to see what she's got going on, because she is definitely an advocate as well.
And I'm gonna try this link that I'm putting in the comment section and see if that will get you to the survey. Counting on you, Skywriter, to give me to check it for me. Again, the petition works, and the petition works, but we're looking forward to finding out if the Google Doc form works, this vision of it works. We are so grateful to all of you who are watching today. I'm going to be asked, but I want to do one more reminder before we leave, that this is National Minority Donor Awareness Month, and I am going to share a little video as we go out.
Okay.
And let me see if I can get that done. Again, I want to remind folks that that I am personally a recipient of stem cell transplant. I just celebrated on the 22nd my 9th birthday, because when you get stem cell transplant, they take all of your old blood out and put in a whole new system. So this is something that you can do. You can donate stem cells, be on the registry for stem cells, and that's spending a day sitting in a chair and having them harvest your stem cells. Pregnant women, you can donate stem cells by through donation of your umbilical cord after the baby has been born.
Well,
If you don't donate it, that just results in um, it going in the trash where it could save a life. So if they don't ask you, do you want to donate? Because sometimes we don't get asked the same questions, we don't get the same opportunities as patients that don't look like us.
Right.
And also, there are organs that you can do live donations of kidneys, pieces of your liver. Um, think about if you are willing to do that. Also, register and to be an organ donor um, at other points. So,
Speaking of which, before you get to that video and everything along those lines, I think I might have mentioned on this show. I know I mentioned on other shows before, but my uh, only brother, my younger brother and only brother, his significant other is a recipient of a heart transplant. She's now
mm,
been having had that new heart for about 2 or 3 years and all along those lines. So definitely, I am with you on the importance of organ donations because she was on that waiting list and she got it actually, ironically, during the height of the pandemic. But she has now been with that new heart, I want to say, for 2 years, maybe even going on 3 years, anything like that. So definitely a big supporter of organ donation. And that's just one friend that has been in that space of having an organ donation. I know others that have had livers and kidneys and other organs that you have mentioned. So definitely a supporter of organ donation, having had family members and friends that it has been very beneficial to them and has kept them here on this planet doing the great work that they continue to do and also being the great parents that they are, because Celia is a parent.
so again, I want to thank everybody. I'm going to show you a video again about organ donation, and then we are going to close today's show. And thank you all again for doing justice brings joy.
I was 23, and they said, well, you have protein in your urine. And so therefore, one of your kidneys have shriveled up, has been damaged.
We think of diabetes as this disease that is especially prevalent in our community, but we don't think that, okay, but what happens if that isn't treated?
When I was in my undergrad, I had kidney infections that were never treated properly. I started my first dialysis treatment, and after my first dialysis treatment, I said, okay, thank you so much, bye-bye.
You can do that.
Like, I didn't know that I had to come back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I went through the 6 years. I've been on dialysis. And Tuesday, November 30th, 2010, I got a transplant.
So I saw somebody that a friend of mine loved. And honestly, I wasn't connected to them, but just that got me thinking, well, what else is there that I could do?
Overall in our country, about 100,000 people are on the kidney waiting list. How many of them get transplanted? Roughly 25,000 or so. And of those, living donations would make up about 7,000 or so. And a much smaller number of them are from minorities.
I posted something on my Facebook and I just said, does anybody need a kidney? Turns out that somebody who I wasn't close to in high school, who I'm just friends with on Facebook, her stepmom was waiting for a transplant, her second one. I realized there was such a stigma. There was so much misinformation. There's so much more that we can teach, especially in our community, because one, food and the way that we connect is our love. And it's our connection. That's how we come together. When I was young, we poured the whole thing of sugar in for that red Kool-Aid, So, that's what we do. We if you don't eat at grandma's house, you dissing them, So
they're offended.
Absolutely.
So really it's about empowering the patient to improve access to transplant, improve education, taking that veil away, making these questions very easy to answer. How do you overcome these questions or worries that they have about donating?
Let's address some of those myths. I know we can start with the obvious that African Americans for years have been used as test subjects or who have not been treated properly.
So I think the medical field, unfortunately has this history, but today it's so highly regulated. There are so many watchdogs, so many in the community are empowered. Everything you do is looked at.
Okay.
There's no more behind the curtain. It's all brought out into the open.
If I end up in the emergency room and I have it on the back of my license that I'm a donor, are you guys going to do everything you can to save me?
So when someone comes to the ER, our responsibility is to that patient. It is not to anybody else, but to that patient. If a patient is not doing well and it is inevitable that they might pass away, there is a discussion with the family, but there goes through several different layers before the donation even happens.
I did get a kidney transplant, and here I am today. So 13 years later, it'll be 14 years in November. But now, because I learned the livelihood of a transplant is 10 to 15 years. So that's why I'm awaiting another transplant.
And Soraya says she's now near the top of the list for that second transplant. All three are so passionate about empowering minority groups with knowledge. They encourage small changes in eating habits, kidney screenings, even if no history of disease, and say, don't be afraid to talk to your doctor about your kidney health.
Natasha's story really struck me there because she literally just went on social media one day
and said, does anybody need a kidney?
Oh,
and that was after she saw a friend of hers lose someone because they could not get a kidney because they were on the list. It really struck her. So she said, what can I do to help?
Thanks
Yeah, just really impactful. So we'll keep this conversation and this connection going as usual. And if you have a cool story to share, I want to connect with you. Please email me or reach out to me on Instagram. And my handle, as you know, is Steph Connects TV.
Well, thank you all again for participating in this week's episode of Doing Justice Brings Joy. And again, this is National Minority Donor Awareness Month. It is also National Minority Healthcare Month. And so you're going to be seeing stories, messages, and at some point I'm going to try to bring in some health experts to share with you probably, I don't know, near the end of the month. We do have also our specials holding, we're going to be having the candidates participate by sharing 7-minute videos with you about their positions on issues affecting their wards in particular and how they plan to address those ward-related issues, at the same time supporting the broader Durham community issues. How are they going to be an advocate for their ward as well as the city overall? Durham does not have a true ward system, and so it's very important that those candidates who are allegedly representing the wards have a broad vision for Durham, but they must have, if they're going to represent me, they must have a vision, an understanding, and be supportive of those issues that are unique to the ward. And we want to see how they will address them. And then in our first episode in September, I will be inviting the mayoral candidates to also provide us with 7-minute vignettes, interviews because I've given them 3 questions. I'm giving them 3 questions to answer and respond to, as well as an opportunity to introduce themselves to you, my viewers, prior to the early vote. I thought it was important that all voices be heard or be given an opportunity to be heard prior to the early voting process. Thank you again. Be mindful that this is National Minority Health Month and National Minority Donor Awareness Month. Thank you so much for all you do. If you live in Durham, I want to see you in those streets and in those seats at the Durham City Council meeting on Monday, August 4th. The council starts at 7, but let's be present by 6:30 and let our presence be known. Thank you again for being with me on Doing Justice Brings Joy.